Congressman Clyburn, welcome to Explorations in Black Leadership.
Well, thanks for having me.
We appreciate your being here. I want to begin with a few questions about Brown v. Board. You were just shy of 14 years old when the decision came down. How did you hear about it, and what did you think at the time it was going to mean?
Well, I remember I was on Bartlett Street on my way home from then Lincoln High School. I lived out what we call West Liberty. And I remember we were doing double sessions at the time. Somebody run to the door yelling that the Supreme Court had made this decision. The backdrop to all of that was my father was a minister, and I recalled almost every morning at breakfast him praying for Reverend Delane and all the petitioners over there. And so we got really sort of connected to it. So when that decision came down, we thought that this was it. Come September, we'll no longer have double sessions. We'll no longer have ragged hand-me-down books, workbooks that were already filled in. We would be going to school in an integrated fashion and getting the same type of education everybody else is getting. Well, naivete, I guess.
I guess, but I'm guessing that because Reverend Joseph Delane was such a known figure in Black South Carolina, and the Clarendon County case was such a well-known thing, that it may have been more immediate to you than many of the other people we've interviewed in this series.
Oh,
absolutely. It was
absolutely.
personal to you.
Oh, absolutely. I was only 22 miles away. Sumter, where I grew up, was just 22 miles from Somerton, where all this was taking place. And of course, my father being a minister, my mother was a beautician. They were all independent of the system, so to speak, and very active. In fact, I was elected president of the NAACP Youth Council when I was only 12 years old. And all of that was connected with Brown, because this was like 1952 when I got elected Youth Council president. And of course, it was all with the whole Briggs Delane efforts were a backdrop to all of that.
And you said a second ago that you thought that by the fall you'd be throwing away those secondhand books, you'd be at a brand new school.
Absolutely.
What did it turn out to mean?
Well, you know, when I think about that period between May 17, 1954 and the 1970, when we finally got the edict from the Justice Department that we were going to integrate schools in South Carolina. It's really almost a blur as it relates to education, because the focus got turned almost immediately to public accommodations. By the time I got to South Carolina State, we were then involved in other more direct action kinds of things, leaving it up to the NAACP and the courts to figure out when and where integration would take place.
Now, in 2003, you wrote, "In South Carolina today, the state accepts it should provide a public education, but not necessarily an adequate education." And you listed the great disparities between state spending on black and white schools.
Absolutely.
That was a year ago.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's still the case in South Carolina.
It is still the
today.
case, and the court case, trying to justify inequities in the expenditures is still taking place. Oddly enough, in Clarendon County is where the sitting for all of this is taking place. Now, the big issue is over rural versus urban. These are rural school districts that are petitioning for equitable funding. The problem, of course, is that in most of those rural school districts, there are majority black, in some instances all black, because it's in these areas where white kids left the schools and went to private academies. And so what you've got here, though it's a rural versus urban setting, it has racial adversities to it.
Now, aside from the actual way it turned out, what did it mean to you over these years? What did the court speaking in this way, what did it mean to you?
Well, I'm almost emotional about Brown because not only did it define a lot of my breakfasts growing up, but it also helped to mold the way I approach things in political life. And that's why I was just beside myself when I got the opportunity to get the Congressional Gold Medal for the principles in Briggs, because I happen to know the history of Brown, and I spent a lot of time with my friends trying to make sure they get it right. Most people don't get it right, because the case, as you know, if it had been listed chronologically, it would have been Briggs, because Briggs was the first one filed in South Carolina, and but for a little quirk, it would have been Pearson, because Levi Pearson 2 years earlier filed the first lawsuit. And so I've just been really studying this stuff all my life. And so when I got the opportunity to get the Congressional Gold Medal for Levi Pearson and for Harry and Eliza Briggs and Reverend J. DeLane, I jumped at the opportunity, because whatever it is that I am, I think that this effort in Summerton, South Carolina, still drives my emotions more than anything else that I know.